In today's video, I'm going to be showing you the Ecoflow Delta 2 Max. I'm going to be talking about why we opted for this as the means of powering our campervan. I'm going to be going through the setup process, some appliances it will run, and then plugging it into our solar. So yeah, let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome, hope you're all well. Today we're briefly going to be talking about the Ecoflow Delta 2 Max, which we opted to purchase and is going to be the sole method of powering our campervan along with the solar. So why did we go for the Ecoflow Delta 2 Max? Well, this is our electrical system. This is our battery. This is our inverter. This is everything we need to power our van, all in one tiny box. So there are lots of different systems out there that people use to power campervans, van builds, etc. But for me, this just simplifies the process so much. You can go for more expensive, bigger systems like Victron, and there's other people out there where you have a whole setup at the back of the van. But to be honest, this does exactly the same as that, and it's in this small box. It's a lot simpler, it's a lot less work. You don't necessarily have to mess around with the electrics on the van, i.e. alternators, running cables to your battery for chargers. So yeah, I just think it makes life a lot simpler. Plus, this thing is a lot cheaper. So the Delta 2 Max has a battery capacity of 2048 watt hours, but on the side here, you have two imports where you can add two additional batteries. It has 4 AC outlets with a total output of 2400 watts, but with a surge output of 4800 watts. And when it's on X boost mode, you can have 3100 watts of output from these outlets. There are two 12 volt 3 amp outputs and 4 USB-A outputs, 2 standard, 2 fast charge. And additional to that, 2 USB-C outputs at 100 watts each. Now the Ecoflow Delta 2 Max is solar compatible, so you can plug it straight into a solar installation and it can take up to 1000 watts of solar energy. The Delta 2 Max also supports car charging if you buy the additional alternator pack. So what does it weigh? It weighs 23 kilos, which for the average person isn't too heavy. And it measures 50 centimetres by 24 centimetres by 30 centimetres, so nice and compact. So with all that in mind, the size, the simplicity, the cost and how powerful it is, that is why we opted for the Ecoflow Delta 2 Max. It just simplifies an electrical system in a van tenfold, and it doesn't take up whole banks of the side of a van in a garage like other inverters and DC to DC chargers and all sorts of cable work running left, right and centre. I don't think things need to be that complicated these days with things like the Delta 2 Max. They're powerful enough to run everyday items every day, and plus with the benefit of solar recharging it, yeah. So let's actually get into to see what this can charge. Right, now let's have a look at the setup of this Ecoflow Delta 2 Max. There we go, it's set up, it's ready to go. Now of course there is an Ecoflow app which you can download. I haven't yet. You can download and control any of the Ecoflow power stations from that app, switching socket outlets on, USB sockets, etc, etc, or just monitoring the battery charge. So what are we going to be using the Delta 2 Max for? Well, it's going to be powering the whole campervan. That's things like 12 volt lights, 12 volt diesel heater, cooking facilities like an induction hob, air fryer, and then some luxuries maybe like a 12 volt television, CCTV, charging phones, charging laptops, charging drones and stuff like that. But I think this is going to be more than sufficient for what we need. Plus, if it isn't, you still have the option of added 2 additional batteries at 2000 watts each. So you can treble the amount of storage that the Delta 2 Max has on its own. So with that in mind, let's turn her on and test some items. 15 minutes. Now obviously it's saying we've got 15 minutes of charge left, but our battery is down to 28%. This is directly out the box, having not received any sort of charge at the moment. Hairdryer. Rated at 1800 to 2100 watts. Now, I don't need this, but my wife does. Plug it in. Turn it on. That's enough of that. Kettle. Now this is rated at 1850 to 2200 watts. Obviously this is a 240 volt kettle, which will probably be using a 12 volt one, so this is not a realistic test really, because we're probably not going to be running this in the van. However, it's just to show you that it can power it. Plug it in, on, turn it on. As you can see, it's 2000 watts, we've got 13 minutes of energy left, and it's down to 26%. But again, must reiterate, this is straight out the box without a charge. There we go. Boiled the kettle, and I think we used 2 or 3%. So can you see why I think this is a good idea for the van? It runs all those things without any fuss whatsoever. It's small, it's compact, it's cheaper than its alternatives. And we haven't even come to the best bit yet. So if you want a truly off-grid camper van, you need solar. And we happen to have that. As you saw in our last video, I installed the 450 watt solar panel on the roof of the van. Now, the Delta 2 Max can take up to 1000 watts of solar, which will charge it from empty to 80% in about 2 hours. Now we don't have that because we didn't have the roof space, but we have half. So I'm hoping on a nice sunny day, this will charge probably within 4 to 5 hours. Now, when I was contemplating whether I wanted this or not, I looked at our power usage and how it will probably work out on an average day. So in the morning, Rebecca might dry her hair with a hairdryer, so it will use some energy. We might boil the kettle, albeit that'll be 12 volt. And then, you know, those things that we might use in the morning, which are high consuming energy items, we'll hopefully then have all day of sun or sun brightness to put some power back into this via the solar. And then of the evening, when we want our heating and when we want to do some cooking, we're going to take some power out of the Delta 2 Max. But then that should leave us for sufficient energy overnight to then recharge. But there will be occasions maybe when that doesn't work out. And the other beauty of this is that you can charge this from empty to 80% via 240 volts, 230 volts in a couple of hours. So what we will have, we'll have an outlet on the side of the van somewhere and a cable going to the back of this. So if we do get low on energy and it's going to compromise us, we can go to a proper campsite and charge it back up. But still, you have that option of adding the additional battery storage, 2 additional batteries, which I can't see you ever running out. Now that brings me on to the solar. So if you buy the Ecoflow MC4 to XT60 cable, what that does, it takes your solar strings, your MC4 connectors, adapts them into a XT60, which plugs straight into the back of the Delta 2 Max. So as you can see at the back here, we've got our 230 volt outlets, but above that we've got a flappy bit, technical term. So we've got 2 solar inputs, so this can actually take 2 lots of solar strings. So obviously the one I've got on the roof is 1 solar string, but it can take another. Then you've also got your extreme charge, which is your 240 volts. Then you have the option of fast or slow AC charging, which, as you know, if you cycle battery too many times using a fast charge, it can reduce its lifespan. However, the Delta 2 Max is guaranteed to 3000 cycles before it will get down to 80% capacity. So if we lift this flap up, we've got our solar inputs, or 230 volt input, and then we've got our fast or slow charge. The other thing I love about Ecoflow is their style of packaging. It's what people would call very Apple-esque. It's very high quality and very, very nice. So here we have the MC4 to XT60 connector. So let's get it out of his packet and plug it in. So this is a 5-meter cable, so I'm not going to need that, so I'm just going to leave it coiled up for now. But literally, we have a male and female connector, the same as we do on the end of our solar strings. So what we'll do is we'll connect the male this end to the female this end. Then we'll connect the female this end to the male that end. Then what we're left with is our XT60 plug. As you can see, this one's labelled PV1 and PV2, so we'll plug this into PV1. It can only go in one direction. So there you go. As it stands, we have 99 watts of input and we're currently on 22%. But so it is only 7 in the morning, or half 7 in the morning, so the sun is only just coming up, so it's not very high in the sky. But I suspect that's going to increase. So some people in the comments will probably be like, oh, 121 watts of input, that's nothing, that's never going to charge that. However, what you've got to take into account is it's half 7 in the morning, the sun is very low in the sky, it's coming up, it's not right in the sky yet, so the panel is getting sun at a very acute angle. So yeah, in the space of 2 minutes we've already gone up 1 or 2% anyway, so I'm quite happy. But yeah, you've got to take into account the conditions in which you are running this in. So yeah, the sun's very shallow in the sky at the moment, and the panel is getting sun at this angle, so you have to take that into account. But when it's nice and high, I suspect we'll be getting nearer 400 watts. So yeah, that's a very short video on why we went for the Ecoflow Delta 2 Max. Now this isn't a sponsor video, we literally did some research, decided this was the best option, less complicated, cheaper, will run exactly what we want for the period of time that we want. You can plug it into the solar, you can charge it by 240 volts. And the main thing for me is you don't mess around with the van electrics, because there's lots of talk online if you've got different systems, i.e. Victron, etc., of upgrading the alternator, running cables from the battery, DC to DC charging, which this can be charged off of the vehicle alternator, but I don't think we need to do that. So this just simplifies the process of powering up a van a lot easier in my eyes, and that is why we went for it. So yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. Would you go for something like this? Would you not? Would you go for a more traditional system? Let me know in the comments, I'm interested to find out. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you're all well, wherever you are, whether you're in New Zealand, America, back in the UK, friends and family. But yeah, that's it for this one, and we will see you again soon. We're about to catch a flight to Melbourne, so I wanted to get this one out very quickly. But yeah, we'll see you next time.